This is the Grow Your Clinic podcast from Clinic Mastery. We help progressive health professionals to lead inspired teams, transform client experiences, and build clinics for good. Now, it's time to grow your clinic.
Welcome back to another episode of the Grow Your Clinic podcast. My name is Jack O'Brien, your host. Thank you again for joining us and entrusting us with the next 25 minutes of your time. Today we have another guest joining us. I'm really excited for this one. This gentleman has been a mentor of mine, an inspiration of mine, and it's very humbling to have him on the podcast. Antony Lo, the Physio Detective. Welcome, mate. How are you?
Well, thanks, Jack. Thanks for having me on.
So for those uninitiated, you are the Physio Detective. You have founded My PT Education. You've got your own podcast. Give us the background, the 411 on who you are.
Yeah, regular physio from Sydney, did my undergrad at Sydney, worked in the hospital system for a few years, went out into private practice, straight into my own practice. Just been working as a physio for a while now, and then I had two clinics, and then I sold one in 2008, one in 2012 to concentrate on my education business. Done a lot of mentoring from about 2005 onwards in a more systematic way, lecturing at uni, and really going on through a massive transformation shift in thinking around that 2013 to 2015 period. And the way I describe what I do is I work at the junction between women's health, musculoskeletal, and sports performance. I also coach, soccer coach, netball coach, rugby league. I've done, swimming, tennis, and then I've played all sorts of different sports and worked with people all the way up to Olympic level, CrossFit Games athletes, all the way down to stuck in bed and have been there for months. Happy to work with a full range of things. I know what I'm good at and I know what I'm not good at. So I'm a bit of a team player. Mm-hmm. And yeah, I just love empowering other people to be, number one, just the best that they can be, but also freeing health professionals, fitness professionals from the shackles of taking on the responsibility of being the fixer. So much of what I hear about, especially from therapists, is the pressure that they feel, how, they go home, they're emotionally wasted, they're feeling all the feelings, they're taking on all the problems, they feel the burden of having to try and solve this person's problem. And, through the education that I do, helping them realize that it doesn't have to be that way, that they can facilitate change, which is more empowering anyway,
right?
Produces longer lasting change, as well as frees them from the emotional burden and the feeling of heavy responsibility to solve somebody's problem, even though it's not their own problem. It helps health professionals, fitness professionals, as well as the people that are seeing them.
And I think that certainly your longevity and your ability to stick around and still be inspired and energetic around that has been brilliant for me to watch. And now that you can teach that to others and bridge that gap from how to think scientifically, critically, logically, but still be able to communicate in a really human way is beautiful and something that I certainly admire. Before we get real deep into those weeds, I got a couple of quick icebreakers. We can't skip by those. Rapid fire questions. Are you ready?
Ready.
Righto. Number one, what are you reading or learning right now?
No, what am I reading or learning? How to write learning outcomes. I'm looking at educational materials, generating change, as well as developing and breaking down the content that I want to teach into stages. So that's the context. I've got a few projects going, writing a few new courses. So really trying to skill up on the education side of things, which has got decades worth of research and resources. And we didn't get very much of it at uni, as you know. So trying to catch up to all the teachers and educators that are out there that did it as their undergrad.
Nice. Okay, number two, who inspires you?
Everybody. Everybody inspires me. I can look at somebody and be inspired by something. I have a fairly positive outlook on life. And so if I come across somebody who is hardworking, even though they've got a personality that I don't agree with, I can look at their hard work and be inspired by that. So really choosing to see that nobody's perfect and not holding any one person up, because you tend to get disappointed when you do that.
Right.
But really just seeing the positives and then negotiating and navigating any potential conflict that I see within that interaction, but really being inspired by the positives that I see in people.
Nice, mate. Number 3, what did you want to be growing up?
I wanted to be a doctor. I'm a good Asian kid. I was smart enough to be a doctor. So that's what I thought I would do. And then I realized by the trials that I probably hadn't been studying, not even enough, just hadn't been studying. Probably not a good idea. Physio instead. It turns out that I have a natural gift, ability. I just really took to it, and it suited me well. And I often wonder if I could have done things in business or law or all sorts of other things, but I really do believe that I'm meant to be here doing what I'm doing, and I have a mission to change the world, and I need as many people on board and can't do it on my own. So yeah, love what I do, and that's what I wanted to be. And to be honest, I think I'm helping more people than I could have as a doctor.
Sure, no doubt. Number 4, what's a motto that you live by?
What's a motto that I live by? It's that quote from Albert Einstein's. One of the first ones. Is quite a few, Jack. But, if you keep doing the same thing over and over and expecting a different result, that's just insanity. Another one is that hard work beats talent when talent doesn't want to work hard, because I'm not particularly talented, but I am happy to work hard. And then change your meaning, change your feeling is another one. Do something different is one that I keep reminding myself and others of. But change your meaning, change your feeling really does encapsulate that biopsychosocial approach that I do like to take.
I like it. I've heard plenty of one-liner pearls from you, but I don't recall that one. So there you go. I've learned something new. Okay, you mentioned BPS, biopsychosocial model. Let's go down the rabbit hole a little bit. I know that you're not one to shy away from an intellectual debate online or face-to-face. Can you just paint a picture of how you approach clinical practice in light of manual therapy, biopsychosocial? What is your general ethos when it comes to approaching private practice?
Generally, I have to remember that it's not about me, it's about the person. I think that's the first thing we got to do. It's not about me, it's not about my skills, it's not about how much knowledge I have, it's not about my ability to improvise on the spot. It's actually about the person that's sitting in front of me, the person who has sought help, the person who has, been around and have been dismissed, but they know deep down that there's something else that hasn't been addressed and they don't know how to articulate it. And so by keeping my eyes on that goal to put them at the center of care, it influences everything else. So first of all is just being other person centered instead of being self-centered. And then from there, it's about feeling all the feelings and the thoughts and then deciding to challenge them instead of deciding to confirm them. So, I remember going through clinical reasoning at quite a number of different places, and it's like, undergrad and masters, you develop your top 3 suspects, say, and then your objective examination is to confirm or deny. I'm not sure about the confirmation thing because it's too easy with confirmation bias to find what you want.
Sure.
So I deliberately start by trying to prove that it's not what I think. I think it's a neck-driven arm problem. Well, then I'm testing the arm, I'm testing the thorax, I'm testing everything else but the neck. And then only once I'm satisfied that it is not those things, then I feel like I can approach the neck knowing that I'm not just looking for what I think the problem is and being open to being wrong. So once, that clinical ethos, once you've got that, everything else comes into clarity. And they taught me 27 years ago that the patient will tell you what is wrong and what the solution is. They told me that nearly 30 years ago. And it's really true. And yet, it seems like the therapist guru who can go in and put their hands on someone and say, no. Don't tell me what's wrong with you. I'll tell you what's wrong with you. That's self-centered. That's full of bias. But because of the way that humans work and think and the whole psychology of the interaction, the biology of the interaction, it's too easy to sell people snake oil. And I really feel that that's not intellectually honest, nor is it ethical to be like. And then you've got the other people who are all about, being strict on how quick they can get the information, and they start asking leading questions, which is a problem, close-ended questions. All of this stuff has influenced me to make sure that I'm as open as possible, to let the person guide the interaction, to let them choose the way and show them that they actually do have the answers and they need guidance and knowledge, but they get to make the decisions. It's their body, it's their choice, it's their life. And that's what I'm there to support, as opposed to encouraging a passive healthcare system, which we know just sucks. Like it sucks. It's good to make money if you want to churn and burn, but if you actually want to do something good for humanity, I'm not a fan.
Mm. So I'm interested, and we're going to explore how that plays out from the client's perspective and some of the commercial realities around that. But I want to touch on that approach to thinking. And I know this is what you cover in a lot of your courses, and really what you taught me as a young professional, which I'll be forever indebted to. But if you could speak to the practitioner or even the practice owner that has a team of therapists, how do we teach, especially young therapists, how to think and how to amalgamate all the different perspectives and literature and uni and social media gurus? How do we think about that stuff?
Yeah, it's a really good question. And do you remember how I said what I was reading was that stuff? I'm actually designing. That's the course that I'm designing right now. It's going to be ready by the end of the weekend, I hope. When you've got a team like that, you've got to have people on board. And one of the books that I love is the book called Switch, How to Change When Change is Hard, and by the Heath brothers. Fantastic book. And they use an example, which is somebody else's example, but they use it as a framework as part of their book. You've got the elephant, you've got the rider, and you've got the path. And so the rider is the brain, right? Like the thinking stuff, the logical one. The elephant is the emotional side of things, and the pathway is the sociological stuff. So the feelings, I don't know, biological, psychological as well. Obviously the thinking, conscious brain type stuff. And then there's social context, the pathway, the opportunities, the experiences, the influences in your life. And so if you want people to go with you, you've got to lead, not by pointing and pushing and dragging and kicking and screaming, but making sure that the rider, the brain, the thinking part of understands why we're going down this way. But not just that, but dealing with the elephant, because no matter how much you whip an elephant, if it doesn't want to go a certain way, it won't go there. Right. So making sure that they feel safe, the person feels safe, supported to try new things, to do new things, and then creating a pathway by which that change and that way of thinking becomes easier. Now, the reason why I started down that track is simply because if you want people to think about the research and you want people to think about the continuing education courses that they have taken and that they will take, and you're trying to amalgamate everything and think logically and differently and really challenging everything in, let's face it, an environment that has relatively low levels of evidence on the evidence tree, you really do have to work with people then and recognize people and how they work. And, if there's any psychologists out there listening, this is bread and butter for them. That's why you've got to work with them. But it's not just that. It's being able to understand cognitive biases and logical fallacies. And so, there's a great resource. It's for free, the Cognitive Bias Codex. And there's a version of it that's been amended, annotated, which has all the definitions of all the different biases. And even some of them have examples. There's over 180 of them.
Right.
Fantastic reading. I love it. I just sit there and I read it on the screen. And
so cool. I'm interested, though, when it comes to biases and trying to challenge our inherent or internal biases and always being critical of what's in front of us, which is quite healthy. How would you speak to those practitioners or practice owners that have a team where they start to question everything and they don't know what to believe or how to think? I know you often teach people how to think, not what to think, but those young therapists who feel like it's all too confusing, it's all too hard. What do you say to them?
To the practice owners who have a team, you have to demonstrate that you're okay, that you're wrong. Be able to openly say, I was wrong and I don't know. and let's work on this together, because nobody's going to be vulnerable with their boss.
Why do you think it's so hard for practice owners to say, I don't know, or that I was wrong?
Culturally, we've got to look like we're in charge, like we've got the answers. We want to inspire confidence in our team, inspire confidence in our patients. And yet people just want to know that they're with somebody who understands what they're going through. And instead of making them feel like, oh, you've got so far to go, I've been where you are, and once you get to my level, and once you understand this and take this course and this course, that was me. And it doesn't work as well as teaching somebody the resources to figure it out for themselves, and therefore making it okay to disagree with you. And that's the hardest thing to do. That is the hardest thing to do. If you can find people who will challenge you and disagree with what you say and put together a cogent argument, then I feel like when that happens to me, I celebrate. I cheer. That's
a robust team, right?
It's perfect, right? Because then they're going to tell you what they really think.
Mm-hmm.
And you need to earn that trust, because nobody's going to jeopardize their job or their relationship with you because you fly off the handle that they disagree with you.
You remind me of Brene Brown, kind of creating safety and vulnerability. And if we can be those leaders who not are the guru leading, but more that didactic, let's come alongside and be curious together and hold the truth as sacred rather than my opinion as sacred, that's a great learning environment for young people. Is that right?
Oh, absolutely. Honestly, the young ones have more up-to-date knowledge, and they get seduced by the experienced clinicians' complicated narratives to explain all the experiences that they've had. And the problem is that the young ones don't have the experiences to put together how the knowledge that they've got, which is generally pretty good,
right,
how to put that into practice so that they can move forwards and hold against, put an anchor down and not be swayed by every fine-sounding argument that comes along from some experienced clinician who's just going to pull rank on them and say, you don't even know what you're talking about, you're only a new grad. That's terrible. I've people since they were students to be better than a lot of people who've got years of experience, even more like to be more effective than the clinic owner.
Yep.
With patients that have struggled for years in the practice, and suddenly they're making gains that they've never done in somebody who is a new grad for a few months. If I can do that with somebody, then how is it that knowledge is the key? Knowledge is not the key. It's the process and the mindset that's different.
I love it. Okay, so we've spoken a little bit to younger practitioners. What about the older practitioner or the older clinic owner that's maybe created this narrative that they are the guru or they are the best in their team? If they want to change, what's a great way to position that change?
Say that I could be wrong. I actually might be wrong. I know that we were doing this and I said it's for these reasons, but you know what? I've looked at the research and I've reviewed it and it's not as clear as I thought it was. The people who taught me to be like this, so I am like this. But maybe that's not the best way to be. And inviting people to comment, even having like an anonymous staff survey where people can freely comment without fear of repercussions, is a great way to do things. Having an anonymous box, having a third party who is not related to the business conduct an audit to be able to truly get what's going on and, earn that trust from the staff member, and then be able to report back in an anonymous way so that the business owner can really just take the information. But to do that, you have to separate your identity out from the ideas that you hold, the beliefs that you hold, because if you place your identity, who you are, in a method that you use or you follow, when that method or idea or belief gets challenged, you take it personally, which makes you not able to listen because now you're defensive, you're being attacked. Whereas if we're just talking about ideas, then it's just an idea. I can let go of an idea and pick up an idea, So instead of telling people to stop doing something, we should be replacing things, replacing one idea with another. Instead of stop thinking that, we tell people to do that, stop doing that activity. well, I do have to get up and go to the toilet.
Mm-hmm.
So instead of doing that, replacing it. Hey, I know that when you go to the toilet, it hurts. So can we work on some positioning that might make it better for you? So replacing one behavior with another instead of just saying no altogether. And in the same way, separating your identity out from your beliefs is a really helpful thing that I learned. Once I realized that I was reacting defensively to people because I'd placed my identity in what I was doing instead of just realizing that I'm worthy of respect just because I am a person, then life became a lot easier to change what I do.
I love it. And I think you've summed up a couple of things there. Practically, getting third party to help and creating some anonymity creates safety. But I think what you're saying is over time, if we can be less precious on our identity being linked to our ideas, we can actually get to a place where we don't need anonymity. I'd suggest that's the goal, is that we can create an environment where we can have robust and healthy conflict without being offended or offendable.
Yeah, absolutely. And when you've got the guru model who's leading, you can only go so far because you can only grow as much as the guru has grown.
It's the ceiling.
Whereas, when the model that I suggest is, the Isaac Newton quote is another great one. If I've seen further, it's because I stand on the shoulders of giants. And my job as a mentor, educator, practitioner, team member is to support other people so that they become my teachers.
Mm-hmm.
So, you see lots of people get upset when the teacher and the student become either equals or the student surpasses the teacher and there's a bit of threat. You see that happen so many times. Don't hold on too tight. Your job is to make the next generation better.
Mm-hmm. It's a tough one to overcome. And I was guilty of that. I wanted to be the best in our clinic, and that's a noble pursuit that we probably should all hold. But at the same time, still going, if I become the best, whatever best actually is, then I've probably fallen short in my leadership responsibilities of creating giants out of others, right?
Exactly. And not just that, but they're supposed to stand on your shoulders. You're not supposed to suppress them and stand on theirs, hold them down.
Okay, so let's shift gears over to more of a client experience angle. And if we're talking about practitioners who hold loosely to ideas or guruisms or methodologies and are really exploratory when it comes to working with patients, how does that play out? What sort of experience does that give patients, and what's the feedback that you receive or have seen happen from clients and patients?
When everything goes well, there's no problem, right?
Right.
Because a positive experience has a seemingly plausible narrative and the person walks away feeling better with a good reason why they feel better now and why they had the problem in the first place, even though we still, up to 90%, 91% of low back pain is called non-specific low back pain for a reason, because we can't actually be specific about why. In that guru type model, it works well until it doesn't.
Right.
And the problem then becomes that they don't see the people who cancel and don't come back because, I've been busy at work. The kids have been sick, COVID. And then these people just don't come back. So you don't actually realize that you've lost them because they're too embarrassed to tell you that they're not getting better. They would rather lie to you. And so you have this bias thinking you've got survivor bias now. All you've got are the cheer squad who think that you're amazing. So you don't even see that you've got a problem. And then we've got referral bias because we hear from those who've left other places, I didn't like them because of this, 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 and this. And if you listen carefully and you earn the trust and you ask the questions, no, I didn't tell them that. I just left because I want to get better. And that ability to have people come back is really important. Mm-hmm. Just a quick story, if I may. I had somebody come and see me. He had this really weird problem. And, 2 or 3 sessions in, I'm like, Jack, I'm not making any headway here. I'm going to send you off for this, 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 and this. But let me know how you're going. I'm willing to work on it together with you. Let's see what these other people think first. Just refer it on.
Sure.
Anyway, about 6 months later, he comes back. It's like, oh, you're back. How's everything going? He goes, oh, nothing's different. Nobody's been able to get better. I said, okay, why did you come back and see me? He goes, because you're the only one who said that you didn't know what the answer was and you were willing to work with me to work out what was going wrong. Whereas everybody else that I saw said that they knew the answer and then it didn't work out. They had some sort of reason as to why it didn't work out. But yeah, that just doesn't ring true.
Right.
And so they came back because of the authenticity, the honesty, and the process of let's walk through this together.
Mm-hmm.
So many of the people who've taken courses with me, the main things that they say are that, number one, massive relief from the burden of feeling like they've got to fix people. Number two, better interaction and results with less work. Like people getting better and they're not doing as much and they're confused by that, right? Number three, their clients are happier. Like everybody's happier. And, clients reporting that they feel empowered and the therapist reporting that they feel empowered as well because the client is empowered, the person is empowered, and everybody's happier.
Mm.
And so the guru model only goes so far until we start victim blaming, right?
Right.
I got you better, it's because of my skills. But if you're not better, it's because you didn't do your homework, you didn't do your stretches, you aggravated it by going on holidays, or even if you did everything right, you didn't activate your core properly when you sat down on the toilet. That's what it was.
Mm-hmm.
And so we take credit for the good and when we blame them for the bad, and I think that's just unethical.
How do you pull together seemingly opposing perspectives in and around, like active therapy versus passive, or we want to see people and get them better as quickly as possible, but as sustainably as possible? And what's your perspective on all of those opposing views?
Yeah. So where does a person fit in all of that? You see? So bring it back to the person and not yourself. We've got the evidence that everything is better than nothing. No one thing is better than the other, no matter how much we wish it was. And when you look at the evidence for low back pain, for example, general exercise is the same as specific exercise, but general exercise is the only thing that you don't need somebody else for. Everything else you need a therapist or a trainer or some sort of facility.
Mm-hmm.
How many people are recommending people walk for low back pain, even though the evidence for low back pain and walking is just as good as all the other things?
Right.
People don't do it because, you paid me money to help get you better. There's that burden of responsibility again. Yet a really good option for the person is, hey, walk, because that's got good evidence behind it. So again, where is your focus? Is your focus on the bank balance? Is your focus on trying to keep everybody busy? And believe me, I understand how it works. I've done it. And at the same time, the more you get a person cheering about how awesome and different you are, the more that you're going to grow exponentially, because they're going to tell 5 people instead of trying to squeeze them for every last dollar that they've got for therapy. You might as well just get them to tell 5 people to come and see you, and they'll tell 5 people. And I have stopped advertising for, I don't know how long, but a long time. I haven't advertised my services and people still find me and I'm still busy enough. And do you know what I mean? Like,
what's that juxtaposition of do the right thing by people and get good results, that be precious on the methods, and they'll keep coming back, they'll tell their friends, and it works out win-win, commercially sustainable, and amazing client outcomes and client experiences. That's really interesting. So what's then your advice to clinic owners who want to create this environment, want to lead team like this? What are some practical next steps that we can put in place next week when we go into our clinics, or tomorrow when we go to our clinics?
Right. It's really difficult to give the next steps for whomever. So let me switch that on its head for you and start from the end. What does the team look like in the ideal workplace situation that you want? And then what does the step just before that look like? So if we take 5K running, right? The next step, some smart ass is going to say, the next step is 4,999 meters before the 5K. Okay, great. Yes.
Well done. Yep.
What's that stage that you can be at where you can see the finish line, and then you've got to take that one last step, or that one last change, that one last tweak What does that look like? And it could be a number of things. And then what does the stage before that look like? Before you get to that second last stage. And you keep going backwards until you feel like you can answer the question, actually, we could do this today. And when you get to that stage and you wrote all the other stages down, you've actually now mapped out your pathway to change, to get the team that you want. And of course, it's a flexible pathway. Nobody's saying it's set in stone, but it works with clients. It works with personal goals, and it works with developing a team and developing a network, and it works in education. It works how I can show you how I design courses, because I literally write out what I want people to get from things, and then I work backwards to give them what I think they would want to hear or need, or, you know, whatever.
Simple. Not easy, but simple.
Yeah. Complexity.
Yeah, it's amazing. And it's rung true for me clinically and in and through my practice, and now as we're helping hundreds of other clinic owners in beginning with the end in mind, reversing engineering and taking the next step.
That's it.
Complicated. Oh, mate, and I know that you've helped me personally. You've helped my team of my physios and countless others. So if people wanted to maybe get in touch with you, explore what you do, I'm sure it's predominantly physio, but extends far beyond just the borders of the physio profession. How can we find you on the interwebs?
Yeah, look, if you just look up Physio Detective, you're going to find me. I've got a masterclass that the next intake is coming up in January, and this is what we go through. It's super uncomfortable for the first 3 weeks. Really challenging, really exposes people, and I warn people a lot about it. And so if you feel like you're up for a challenge, if you feel like an existential crisis is okay, then do it, because once you get through that, the growth is amazing. Like, my program just finished a couple of weeks ago, and I've got somebody else recording testimonials from them. And all the objectives that I'd set for the masterclass have been, you know, I'm hearing them in the testimonials. People's lives are changing, how their marriages are changing, you know, that relief from that burden of responsibility, freedom to challenge the people who taught them things. Freedom is another big word that they use. So find me on Physio Detective. I've got free webinars, I've got free courses, I've got paid stuff online, live online. I've got lots of stuff, and I've got new stuff coming, which is going to be super exciting. So, yeah.
And listeners, we'll make sure we link all that up in the show notes over at clinicmastery.com/podcast. Find the episode with Antony Lo, the Physio Detective, and you'll find all the links to all the fun stuff. Mate, that's been super enlightening. Thank you for your contributions, both now and through the years past. And I'm sure that will be very encouraging to listeners. So thank you for joining us.
You're welcome. And thank you for having me on the show. And, you know, I love looking back in time and seeing where you were and where you are now. And, you know, it's been a pleasure to interact with you and watch and see you grow. And really well done on everything you've done, Jack. It's been awesome.
Thanks, mate. Appreciate it. And listeners, thank you for joining us. Certainly for the warm and fuzzies at the end there. Thanks for joining us. Head over to clinicmastery.com/podcast for any of those links, show notes, and you can get in touch with us at CM if we can help you to grow your clinic. That's it for this episode. Can't wait to bring you another one again really soon. Bye for now.
Thanks for tuning in to the Grow Your Clinic podcast. To find out more about past episodes or how we can help you, head to www.clinicmastery.com/podcast, and please remember to rate and review us on your podcast player of choice. See you on the next episode.